welcome to my very first podcast. Today it's going to be called The Morning Battle. It may change later. But it's about parents raising neurodivergent kids and trying not to lose it before 8 a.m. I'm your host, Tamitra Johnson. I am a licensed clinical social worker in private practice. I am the mom of two neurodivergent little humans and founder of Jacob's Ladder Therapies, where we help families survive the morning with their sanity mostly intact. Today is extra special because I'm broadcasting live from Rachel Rogers ROI Millionaire Summit in Huntington Beach, California. Yes, I am in a room full of brilliant powerhouse entrepreneurs, but in my head, I'm still replaying Monday morning's drama where we started summer school and one kid was crying because they couldn't eat candy for breakfast and the other was refusing to leave the house without their favorite toy, which was this pair of Super Mario Brothers white, big, fat gloves. And of course, me on the floor looking for the favorite SpongeBob hat. So if any of this sounds familiar to you, you're in the right place. At Jacob's Ladder Therapies, we understand that it's not just about brushing teeth or tying shoes. It's about transitions, sensory overwhelm, and every tiny unpredictable moment that can derail the whole day. And I'm not doing this alone. I'm joined by my sister, Dr. Taisha Caldwell-Harvey, founder of The Black Girl Doctor, and proud auntie of my two chaos coordinators. She is not here in a clinical capacity. She's here as Auntie Tai, who's seen it all and lived to tell the tale. Welcome, Dr. Tai.
Thank you for having me, sister. Auntie Tai, proud to report for duty.
Great. Thanks, Sissy, for being here. So why are we talking about the mornings? Neurodivergent kids struggle with transitions, executive functioning, time blindness, and sensory sensitivities. And, we all know as parents, simple tasks like eating, dressing, leaving the house on time can trigger meltdowns. And as parents, we're trying to juggle the logistics of the morning, regulation both with ourselves and our kids, work obligations, like I got to get to work on time, and most kind of significant for me, guilt.
Can you say more about the guilt? I also want to ask more about time blindness because that's new for me. I didn't realize that was a thing, but that explains some of the interactions with the boys. And I'm like, let's go now.
Now, right? That's probably the word I say more than anything is let's go now. Can you come here now? Time blindness has more to do with like they're on their own schedule. They're in their own world and like they move at their own pace. There is no sense of we have 30 minutes to get out the house or, the bus comes at 7:47 and it's 7:46 and it takes 3 minutes to walk to the bus. Like that eludes them. They don't care. Like simply just don't care. Yeah. They're gonna walk at the pace that they want to walk. And guilt, like, when as a parent, when your child gets this diagnosis, sometimes you feel like this overwhelming sense of responsibility. One, I think you struggle with like the loss of the child that you thought you were gonna have. And then there's this feeling of, for me at least, God gave me these two kids for a reason. And I'm responsible for them, for all of them. I'm responsible for them being able to be good people in the world and be happy. So I feel guilty if I yell too much or if they have a meltdown, it was my fault that they had the meltdown. Or if they don't get to school on time, we get the report cards and it says they've been tardy 36 times. And it's like, oh my gosh, or, they can't get to school every day. There will be no perfect attendance by my kids anytime soon. And I feel guilty for that. Like I should be able to get out the house on time. They should be happy all the time because I'm their mom. I'm supposed to make them happy, and that's just not reality.
Yeah, you know, I'm always getting on you on the should statements and being so proud of the mother that you are and navigating all of this and watching you. And I think about the weight of the emotions that you carry and how much you get to share and you just carry on your own or like deal internally with your partner. Just because I know when your oldest, when we first learned of his diagnosis, I remember feeling really sad too and thinking and like crying against the grieving of the loss of, you know, the nephew that like I had imagined like what his life would look like.
Yeah.
And then I felt overwhelmingly guilty. Like, why am I upset and crying about this beautiful child? And I'm just thinking about my emotions as an auntie and then how much of that I even can share with you because you're going through your own stuff. Like, this is a lot. And I feel like we're getting off topic, but the guilt is huge and I feel like could be a whole podcast by itself.
Absolutely. That actually might be our second podcast then. And again, like it's about reminding yourself, like when you talk about should statements, right? We're both clinicians. We know should statements are, you know, cognitive distortions, thinking mistakes, and learning that it's not bad parenting. It's just neurobiology clashing with real life expectations.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And so getting more into kind of the statistics, parents of children with autism and ADHD show higher rates of stress levels. And in one study in 2009, it showed that the cortisol patterns in moms with autistic kids resembles combat soldiers. You know, I am not a veteran. I have never been in the military. And yet I do sometimes feel like I'm at war, and more than sometimes. And I don't know that I would, you know, want to compare myself to someone you know, who's actually in the military fighting. But the data, the research doesn't lie. And, you know, it is a super stressful experience. And that chronic stress that you live with every single day impacts your immune system, your cardiovascular health, your mental health, your memory. I can't tell you how many things that I forget, but I know that I have so many more things to remember. And, you know, another study also showed that moms of neurodivergent kids have a 50% higher mortality rate, which is crazy to think about because one of the stressors that I think about constantly is like, when I die, my kid has to be ready. You know, how do I make sure that he still has a good life when he dies? And it's like,
When you die.
when I, yes, when I die. And how do I, like, planning for that, and then like knowing that, you know, I was kind of an older parent. I had a quote unquote geriatric pregnancy, which could be a whole nother podcast. But like knowing that my stress level could actually send me to an earlier grave when like my goal is to try to stay alive as long as possible so I can continue to support him and make sure that he's good. So like that's just, it feels like you're working against yourself.
Yeah.
And the mornings, because it starts from the minute you wake up, like it leads to the fact that now you have dysregulation all day long.
So the morning, it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And so, like you said, super important, but also super stressful.
Exactly. Like I'm trying to have a good morning so I don't kill myself. And yet I'm killing myself to have a good morning, right? And so, and you have to be, and you know, having a good morning is even more important because you know as a parent, you're gonna get a phone call. Something is going to happen in the middle of the day that's gonna raise your stress level. And sometimes you're just waiting for the text or the phone call from the school that you gotta go pick your child up, or something happened, or they're having a meltdown. And you know, this, you know, even coming here, like I was super excited to come to the conference, and I pull up here and like, you know this, Sissy, I pull up here and I get this horrible phone call that from a parent who had reported that they saw my son's teacher physically and verbally assaulting him during the school day. And I'm like, what? Like, so confused, like, and mind you, this is during like regular school, like not summer school. So this has happened, come and gone. And so naturally I'm on it, right? I'm trying to enjoy the conference and everything, but I need to call the principal, like, what is happening? And I call the principal and I finally get a hold of her and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I give her the rundown and, oh yeah, I do remember. And that happened back in February. And I reviewed the tapes and I didn't see it was substantiated and now the tapes are gone. What? You got a report of abuse of my child and now everything is gone? I don't have anything? Like, that just takes me out of my element. Now I have a whole nother battle that I have to fight, and like the stress of all of the things that we have to go through as parents trying to protect our kids is just one more reason why having a good morning, it's like imperative, because like something is going to happen that you're going to need that strength to fight.
Yeah, you're talking about all the layers of the dysregulation and what the implication is and how it completely continues to compound. So initially when you're talking about having a good morning, it's almost like, you know, you're going to be emotionally dysregulated because maybe now you're going to be late to work. Now everyone else is late to school. Everything's messed up, right? But then you're talking also about, and also just you have to make it happen, right? So I have to make sure you get dressed and get to school, and then I'm completely dysregulated and everything of my day is thrown off. But now you know that because your child had a rough morning, then their day is going to be dysregulated, and then now you're anticipating that, like, maybe they're not going to focus in school today. Maybe they're going to throw a tantrum at school today.
Absolutely.
Who knows what's going to happen at school today? So now you're waiting for that. And then you're talking about when those things happen, then there's more disruption because then you have to deal with whatever may have happened. And you have, so there's a lot.
It's
layers on layers on layers.
On top of layers. And you know what sometimes complicates things is all of the books and the blogs and the podcasts and the manuals and everything that says they can fix your meltdowns and just do it this way and everything will be great. And, you know, if you know one kid with autism, you know one kid with autism. That is the truest thing that was ever spoken to me. Unless you're in my home, you don't get it. And that's the truth. I could talk about it till I'm blue, and I'm very dark-skinned, and you wouldn't get it. And so this is one of the reasons why we created this new service, where we actually go into your home and help you to really create a I won't say stress-free.
You can't make it stress-free?
I think that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be stress-free. What it will do, though, is I will say we create magic.
Okay.
Magic.
Okay. Sprinkle a little magic in the home.
Magic. Where you actually are able to leave the home feeling like this could actually be a good day. And we do that by actually being in your home with you. Because I really believe that that is the only way it actually works, is if we're there with you. I want somebody, this is the one thing I always wanted, come to my home, sit on the couch with me, come help me get these kids dressed, like, show me what I'm doing wrong in the moment. And so, like, that's really, like, you know, most of the therapies even that, like, kids with autism do, like PRT and ABA, it's all hands-on, and that's really what works. You have to be there with them. And so, you know, we created this program to really help parents in the moment cater to that parent, that family, that kid, those traditions in that home, what you want to see from your home. It's not a class. No more checklists. It's the backup that you need.
Is it actually called Magical Mornings?
It is not called Magical Mornings.
I like it though. It's like, I'm gonna hire some magical mornings, some magic to come to my mornings. But speaking of that, I wanted to ask, I know when you were telling me about even recording this podcast, one of the things that you said you definitely didn't want to do was, what's an example of like a morning something that you do, or like that, or like, I guess, how does it look in real life when the magic is sprinkled on your morning? And I feel like people are like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, and then I'm gonna have peaceful mornings every day. But like, what is reality?
Reality is 2 clinicians in your home observing, and seeing all the things that you're not seeing. So when your child's having a meltdown, it didn't start at the meltdown. We all know that. It started 45 minutes before the meltdown. Yeah. And you don't know it because you're not seeing it because you're busy doing everything else. Yeah. But someone there in the home could show you and say, hey, this started then. And so like tomorrow, when we do this again, 45 minutes prior to this meltdown, this is what we're gonna change. This is what we're gonna do. And I can't necessarily say like this intervention or that intervention, because again, it's for that kid, whatever that kid needs. If it is my kid having a meltdown over the gloves, then 45 minutes before we walk out of the house, maybe I need to wake him up and have him wear the gloves the whole time while we're getting dressed. And that's his reward. You know, like it could be many different things, but for each kid, it would be different. But it's about having someone watching and seeing all the things that could be improved, all of the systems that could be put in place before the meltdowns. And during the meltdowns, helping you understand this is a part of your world. And like your kid having a meltdown doesn't have to lead to you also having a meltdown. And this is how we can change the way that you interpret the situation so that you won't be as stressed when the actual event happens.
You learn to move with what's happening instead of, I think our parents create anxiety on top of our anxiety, right? So it's like, you're stressing me out, and now I'm stressed out that you stressed me out, and now I feel guilty that I'm stressed out that you stressed me out, and I'm stressed out. And so removing some of the layers.
Removing some of the layers. We don't all have to be stressed out at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
We are going to be stressed out, but it could be at a different time. Again, and the services are individualized and trauma informed. Right? We want to get to know you and your family and your style, and what's important to you. What does a magical morning mean to you? I actually might use that. It doesn't have a name yet. Okay. So magical mornings might be it.
You heard it here first. I would like to be credited. I'm just kidding.
Dr. Ty came up with the name.
I don't think I did. You called it magic, and then I was like, oh, is that it? Because that works.
Yeah, it does work. And all of us are looking for magic, right? Magic is the key. And I think that's it, though. Short and sweet.
Okay.
Because, when we work with kids, neurodivergent kids, we like to keep things short and sweet. They can't sit through long stuff, and they don't want to, and their attention moves, and so does ours. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. Recorded live here from the ROI Millionaire Summit in Huntington Beach, even surrounded by brilliant entrepreneurs. I am reminded that the real $1 million breakthrough is a meltdown-free morning. If you saw yourself in any part of this, please let us know. And I want you to know that you are not alone. And you don't have to keep doing this by yourself. At Jacob's Ladder Therapies, we believe that you deserve peace. And that's why we created our in-home morning support service to help families transition from survival mode to magic. I'm loving that every time I say that. Something softer, something more sustainable, and something sane. We've got your back, we've got your mornings, and we're just getting started. To learn more, visit us at our website at www.jacobsladdertherapies.com. Find us on Instagram, find us on TikTok, you can find me on LinkedIn. And until next time, take care of yourself. Your nervous system deserves it.